All right, I believe we are live. Alexa, are you there?
I am. Hello.
Hello, hello to all the listeners around the globe, to the AI troopers. Alexa, you want to say a little hello to your troopers?
Absolutely. Hi, AI troopers. I hope you're having a wonderful day, night, slash afternoon, wherever you are.
I am in LA, Alexa's in Seoul, but today we have come together to unite
Mm,
about a conversation about love. Oh my goodness. We're
yes,
about to dive
sir.
deep here, real
Ha.
deep. So, all right, just in case you guys are wondering who the heck I am. So, I am the chief creative from Mindset. And if you guys don't know, Mindset is an app where you can hear artists like you've never heard them before talking about all sorts of amazing stories. We got Tableau, Jay, Eric, BM, a bunch more amazing folks on there. So, check out Mindset if you haven't. It's just some great, authentic stories about real life and being human together. So, we're doing these talks for the month of May because May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And so these are one of the talks, and we're diving deep about love because, Alexa, that's what you're interested in diving deep about today. And so, well, this is such a huge topic. Oh, by the way, you guys, there's also a place to ask questions for Alexa at the end that we'll be accepting. So make sure to ask questions, and our producer can pick out the good ones. But all right, let's dive into this, shall we? This
Okay,
huge
let's do
topic
it.
of love. Let's
Let's
talk
do it.
about love. Oh my goodness. So
Yes.
I guess I'm just kind of curious to start with you out of everything that you could have chosen to kind of talk about, why love?
I mean, honestly, it is a very broad topic. There are so many aspects of love. There are so many different ways to give and receive love and like different love languages. That's even a thing. There's just so many different like facets of love that could be looked into and discussed. So I figured, why not? It's a broad topic.
Why not? Why not? Yeah,
Mm.
I was like just reflecting before our talk about how big the topic is, and across all cultures and times in history, I feel like it's a lot of people have talked about love as like being just the most powerful force in the universe. Do you agree?
Very powerful. Very powerful.
Very powerful. Do you I guess just to kind of like dive into maybe some of your own story and perspective about love, like can you share with me like how your perception of love maybe started when you were younger and how it's changed over time?
Mm. Let's see. My perception of love. Well, starting, I guess, in the home when I was a child, I'm very fortunate and blessed to have grown up in a very loving environment with my parents and my younger brother even. So, I was taught how to be loved and then how to love at an early age, considering that I did have a younger sibling that sometimes we did fight, but at the end of the day, you do love your sibling. So, and then I think, as I got older and I got more self-aware of who I am, like as a human being, into my adult life, I think I started to struggle with self-love, like
Mm,
receiving external love wasn't so much of a problem. Giving love to other people was never much of a problem. But I think, again, to be redundant, but when I got more self-aware, learning how to love myself is something that became a struggle for me.
mm. What do you think accounted for that struggle? Was there like something that happened, or you just became more aware that it was a struggle as you got older, or I guess why was it a struggle?
I mean, there are a few contributing factors. I mean, I feel like when we grow up, things are never the same as they were when you were a child, of course. But, there are just
Mm,
a few contributing factors. And I'm someone that's always been pretty hard on myself when it came to like my academics or like extracurriculars or even like hobbies or things I had interest in. I was always pretty hard on myself with certain things. So I think it may have
mm.
stemmed from that.
Mm, mm. No, I can relate. I mean, what I'm kind of picking up is ever since I was young, I've also been like really ambitious in terms of what I
Mm,
wanted to accomplish. And so if I wasn't able to do that, I like judge myself. But was it kind
precisely.
of that because of the high
I
expectations?
Oh, definitely. I have very high expectations for myself. And if I can't meet them, if I even fall like a hair below the bar I set for myself, I get very upset with myself.
Mm. Where do you think that comes from? Like that bar, the incredibly high bar.
I think it's because like growing up, I always had this like desire to be like approved of by everybody. I didn't want to disappoint people. I didn't want to seem like a burden to people. So if I couldn't meet my own expectations, I think that would make me think, oh, how could I ever live up to somebody else's expectations?
Mm. Was it yeah, no, I totally relate to that. I feel like, I mean, it doesn't help when you look at social media and a lot of the news and all this stuff about everyone being perfect and wanting to be successful and stuff.
Hmm.
But I don't know, do you remember the moment where you thought to yourself like, oh, I gotta show up and like be liked by people? Or was it just kind of gradual over time? Like, was there like a moment you can
Hmm.
remember?
I don't think I can particularly pinpoint a moment where my brain decided to go off and say, oh, you need to be liked by everybody so bad. But
Mhm.
I definitely think it was a gradual thing that just kind of evolved and snowballed over time.
Mm. Did you realize it that was happening?
I really only became self aware of that kind of thinking process that I had as an adult. It wasn't really
Ah,
something I was too conscious of when I was like a teenager in high school, but I think starting college, that's when I kind of became aware of that I had this kind of thought process.
so the layers of the onion started unpeeling in college.
Indeed, the onion got peeled. We love Shrek in this house.
There we go. I was yeah, that's true. Yeah. So let's peel back the layers a bit more then. So what did something happen in college where you're like, oh yeah, I really care about what others think of me? Or like what I think for me actually, I know it's like an ongoing process. Like I'm still like really anxious all the time, like just meeting new
Word.
people. Like even before this call, I was like doing a breathing exercise, like, oh, I'm like about to meet Alexa, like what do I do? So I want her to like me, you know? But but yeah, going back to college and so yeah, was there I guess what you say you kind of like, you know, entering adulthood, like had the transition
Hmm.
to become more aware of that. So how did you become more aware, I guess?
Um, Again, I don't think there was like a specific catalyst that kicked anything off, so to say. But I think definitely because, I realized, I am an adult now. I am preparing for my
Mm-hmm.
future. I need to be able to do well in the things that will move me forward in life. But, I also want to be doing well in the things that I myself enjoy. I mean,
Mm.
thankfully, I went to college for musical theater, so I was studying what I enjoyed, which was a very fortunate turn of
Yeah,
events.
you loved it.
Yeah, I did. Truly, I did love it. But then
Yeah.
in college, that's when I started, trying to what is the word I'm looking for? I tried to kickstart my career, if you will, for lack of better wording. But that's when I
Mm.
began auditioning for companies and trying to
Mm.
find my way into the world of K-pop that I now see myself sitting in.
Mm.
But I think
Mm.
the journey or the overall process of me wanting to succeed in something, I think that's kind of when I looked at the mirror inwards more and I'm like, okay, what are my flaws and why would people not like me or why would people not hire me? So,
Mm. I see. So it was kind of like a scientist trying to figure out what people would like to get to where you wanted to go, kind of.
kind of, sort of,
I
yeah.
see. Gotcha. So you know, from my experience being in the media space for a while, I know sometimes there's a tension between, you know, what others will love and what you love to like
Mhm.
create. How is there that tension for you, or how do you navigate what you love to do versus what other people, want you to do?
I mean, at the end of the day, I'm very fortunate to be in the company that I'm in. ZB Labels, shout out to Zablabble. But
Shut up.
shut up. Because fortunately, from debut till now, they've always been very. I mean, yes, I am a solo artist and the only artist in their company, but they've been very
Mhm.
centric around, my interests and what I like. Because
Mm.
I love sci-fi, I love like cyberpunk things like that. So being able to debut with that kind of concept, dream come true, absolutely.
Mm.
And the
Yo,
progression
that's
of
some
oh,
love.
it was honestly very glad that I'm in this company. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just sounds like amazing people. So I mean, it sounds like a dream come true. But sorry, I kind of interrupt you. I want to keep going.
No, no, that's fine. But I mean, yeah, just with the progression of the entire Alexa timeline, the Alexa multiverse, and the character progression that Alexa has had, and then especially moving into newer chapters, it's all very. There's so many things that I like. Like you, I'm very ambitious. There's different things I want to tackle, and thankfully, my company allows me to tackle these things. So there's really not much of a difference between what I want to do versus what other people want me to do.
That is amazing. I'm so happy to hear that. Like, yeah, I just feel like that is, yeah, just like something to be incredibly just in awe of, I think, and something that all creatives should kind of aspire to in collaborators. But that, I guess, kind of relates to that. I feel like, you're talking about freedom, right? Like kind of being able to do what you want, but it sounds like you love a lot of things. Am I
I
right?
do. I love a lot of things. I have too much dang love to give.
Too much love. That's wonderful. Okay, like what is there a particular area or stuff that you love more than others? That's such a broad question, but I'm
That's a good question. But I read you loud and clear there. Let's see. Is there something that I love more than other things, so to say?
Or I guess where in your life do you feel the most love?
Ooh, good question. Because I feel like there's like a common misconception when we hear the word love. I feel like the brain automatically goes to like relationships and romance and that kind of love. But love exists on so many different planes, whether it's like friendship or like filial. Like, I mean, for me, as an extrovert, I am a definite extrovert. I feel like I feel most loved and I'm able to give more love when I'm around my friends. I feel like that's my like safe environment.
Is there well, all of us I feel like kind of gravitate towards certain people more than others, but I guess what kind of people do you kind of feel that most freedom and love and just kind of care around? Is it like fellow extroverts?
That's the interesting thing. So my friend group that I have here, most of them are introverts. I think me and this one other friend we are the only extroverts in our group. And then back home with my friend group, they're also all primarily introverts as well.
Interesting. Is that because I don't know, I guess there's a balancing out kind of thing going on?
Yeah, I suppose mayhaps it is balance. I mean, back in my hometown friend group, I had like the mom role. And then in my friend group here, I think I'm the aunt. I don't really know what I am, but.
Interesting. I guess so regarding your friends, the ones that you've known since long ago or now, have you what has been kind of the most revelatory things you've learned just being in their presence and just
Oh
yeah, just
man.
kind of yeah.
Wow. I mean, let's see. Personally, for me, especially because I did have to leave my hometown friend group behind to come here. We do stay in contact, literally every day. We talk every day in our group chat. But upon making my friend group here, I think I kind of collected the people around me with the mindset of like, okay, if my two friend groups were to ever meld, would they get along? Because that's just the kind of people I like to surround myself with. I tend to surround myself with creative people. I tend to surround myself with deep thinkers, overthinkers even. Yeah, I mean, honestly, we're all rather similar in one aspect or another.
Interesting. What is the I guess regarding love, I'm just kind of thinking about my own experiences of, there's times you have when someone tests your love, tests a friendship or things like this, but any kind of fun or kind of like life lesson stories you can share about like particularly in relation to I guess like love and forgiveness with like friends or your like social network?
Love and forgiveness with friends. I mean, I feel like this can be applicable to some people, but no matter how much you love and care about someone, if they don't reciprocate, then don't waste your energy. At the end of the day, save that love for somebody else or even yourself. So, be careful with who you love and how much love you give to them. That's just a little advice.
That is That is, man, that is a deceptively deep lesson right there. I feel like so
Hmm.
many people stick around. But you
Oh
know,
yeah.
it has to do with like wanting to be liked by people because sometimes you feel like if you stick
Exactly.
around, you know, yeah, you keep loving people and hopefully they'll like you, but then you don't realize like you're not loving yourself. But anyways, so that brings us full circle to loving yourself. If you're talking
Mm.
about self-respect, like, you know, if it's not a
Oh
two-way
yeah.
street, like you're out of there. So it sounds like you've had to do that. Like how was that? How did it feel? And
I
what did
mean,
you learn?
at the end of the day, it's never a fun event to try to slowly disconnect yourself from another human being because, whenever, for me personally, when I become friends with somebody, I give that person a little part of me. And so at the end of the day, if
Mm,
you have to disconnect from them, you are losing a little part of you. But that shouldn't be something that eats
dang.
you up too much. But that's the one thing that's always kind of been hard for me for severing relationships, no matter how like severe or not severe the I guess negative energy was in that friendship relationship, you're
Mm,
always losing a little
mm,
part of yourself. So,
mm, mm. So how do you deal with that part of yourself you feel like is missing?
hmm. um, I mean, thank God the human body can reproduce cells, am I right?
Hey,
But I
hey.
mean, while I did decide to give away this little piece of me to a person in my life, one door closes, another opens. Someone else will come into your life and help you regrow that piece of
Mm,
yourself and maybe even nourish it to something bigger. So,
mm. Amen. One door
hmm.
closes and another door opens. Yeah, I
Hmm.
feel like no, I think that is another deceptively profound lesson because yeah, holding on, like just holding on, like a lot of us just want to hold on
Right.
a little bit too long, white knuckling. But
Oof.
so let's dive a little deeper into self love, I guess, because in the
Hmm.
beginning, you know, that's you kind of touched on that. So what does it look like to practice self love? Like, I guess what does that mean to you?
I mean, for every person it's different. For me personally, it's I don't know, maybe it's cleaning my room after not
Hmm.
doing anything for like 2 weeks, because that happens sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Cleaning
Mm-hmm.
my room, doing skincare, buying like a new shirt or a new dress because I feel good wearing it. Like, yeah, I don't know, just little things here and there that just kind of make me feel better in my own skin.
So it's like, would you say it's like a self pampering kind of like trying to think of an analogy. Like it's like, yeah, like taking
But
yourself
yeah,
out on a date or like staying in or
definitely,
like, hmm,
definitely a self pampering thing for sure, for sure. Because I'm not someone that lives by like the ritzy and extravagant things in life. Like I can literally just order
hmm.
myself a pizza and I'm like, yep, this is the life of luxury.
I
Okay.
love this. I love pizza. That's a good point though. I mean, I think a lot of people sometimes think of self-love as this like maybe
Mm-hmm.
big task that is like an ordeal, but I like that you're keeping it simple. Get some
Mm.
pizza, paint my nails,
Exactly.
feel
It's the
good
little
there.
things. It's the little things.
The little things, the little things. So peeling some more layers of the onion, is there a part of you that you historically had a hard time loving?
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna go back, I think it was it junior or senior year of high school? I don't quite remember, but there was a period
Mm,
of time there where I really did not like myself for a long time for a few different reasons, but there were points whenever I was just so hard on myself to the point of where I was like, okay, where am I going to go in the future? Like, what is there for me in the future? That part of me was
mm,
like, I think the one of the most difficult times in my life that I had with self love and finding my own worth, I guess. It was a very
mm.
difficult time for me.
Dang. Can you paint a picture for me of like what was going on and why you felt that way and kind of,
Let's see,
I
paint a
guess, how you
picture.
dealt with it? Yeah,
I think
just to understand the context.
Oh, absolutely. Definitely, it spiraled from my mindset of me. not wanting to disappoint others, not wanting to be a burden to others, wanting to be loved and approved of by the people in my life. Let's see. I mean, the mindset that I had basically, I would come home from work, I would come home from school, and half the time I would probably just go to my room and sit in silence and try to sleep or, perhaps even cry. But it was just a very rough time for me where I could not see like even like a little sliver of love for myself.
Oh, wow. So that was like the low point of your life.
Mm-hmm. Most certainly.
Dang. And what that kind of stemmed from, well, I guess you weren't aware of it at the time, but I know high school is
Mm.
a time, at least for myself, it's like, yeah, you're dealing with a lot of, I don't know, like there's
Pressure,
the popular kids,
expectations.
and there's college, studying,
Mm-hmm.
grades, and then there's all this other, like if you're in Korea, like hagwon and all that. But
Mm-hmm.
so it sounds like a lot of that kind of pressure and stuff. But yeah, I guess was that the root of it? Just a lot of the pressure to perform essentially, and you wanted to knock it out of the park for everybody.
Honestly, yes. I think it was because, I just constantly wanted to do well in order to gain approval and
Mm.
gain approval from others. And so the fact that I couldn't, like I had said earlier, the fact that I couldn't meet my own expectations in my brain translated directly to, oh, I can never meet anybody else's expectations. Therefore, translating further to, I
Oh,
am a burden. So
dang. So you felt like a burden to everyone around you.
definitely, definitely.
I see. Why is that?
That is a fantastic question. I mean, if we're going to delve a little bit into that, again, I think it's just because I had this fear of disappointment. That's the thing. I think most of my self love issues stem from that. And feeling like a burden in that was because if I could not meet, this person's expectations, then what was the point of me staying like in connection with them? Like, what was the importance that I held in that person's life if I could not be of good use to them, if they would not approve me, I guess.
Dang. Okay. So it was kind of like this black and white thing where it's like,
Mm,
hey, I'm in contact with you, and if I can fulfill all your expectations, then I'm not a burden.
right.
But if I can't fulfill your expectations, then I'm a burden on you. Is that what it was?
That is precisely it. There was no gray zone for me. It was very black and white, my mindset back then.
I see. And that makes sense because you were also really driven and ambitious, right? So it's like you
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be perfect. It was perfectionism.
Yes, perfectionism. That is precisely it.
Dang. So it's funny. It's a two-edged sword because I've dealt with the same thing where it's like, my perfectionism has gotten me places in
Mm.
like the worldly sense, but then like inside I like have no self-love. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna be the best and prove to everyone I can like be loved. And I don't even know I'm doing that, but dang.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that sounds like a very depressing time, which I've also been there too. But like, I get
Mm-hmm.
in that moment, like, what did it feel like? Because you were probably putting all the burden on yourself. Like, what was that like?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I saw myself of as the root of all the problems in my life, and I started blaming external forces on myself, even things that weren't necessarily my fault. I would blame myself for because at the end of the day,
Oh,
it's like maybe if I blame myself, then other people won't need to.
ah,
What is the word I'm looking for? I don't know how to articulate this properly, but basically, I was thinking, if I blamed myself, then in my mind that would translate to like, oh, how do I articulate this? Wow.
well, you wouldn't be a burden
Uh,
anymore. Like they wouldn't be burdened.
basically, they would not be burdened if I took credit for whatever was troubling them.
I see. So what can you give me an example? Like what was one of the times where you blamed yourself for something that was just like happening, but it wasn't necessarily you?
That's a good question. Honestly, even like the little things, like let's see. Oh man, what was it? I don't know. I think I kind of like buried that point in my life very deep to the like
Mm,
dark recesses of my brain. But
mm.
pulling an example, let's see. I don't think I can recall anything specific, but like hypothetically, let's say like uh, maybe I had to go get groceries and like, I don't know, maybe I forgot to buy a lemon or something. Parents were never mad, but in my brain, I'm like, oh my God, I forgot a lemon. Dinner's gonna go so bad because of me. Oh my God, it's my fault. Like,
I
that
see.
wasn't an exact
So it was
experience, but
like,
just hypothetically.
yeah. Well, the small things when you're in that mode of like burdening
Mm-hmm.
yourself, it seems like the entire world is collapsing. Like,
Exactly.
interesting. So you don't bring home the lemon. Everyone's gonna hate me for the rest of my life.
Basically, you don't bring home the lemon.
Um, why didn't you bring home the lemon?
I would ask myself, then why didn't I bring home the lemon? Like,
Why? Oh, why? No lemon on the dinner table. Oh man. So did you seek out help at the time, or like how did you deal with it?
at that time, I did not seek out help. I coped with everything alone. That's the thing. Like, I would open up to friends and my parents, of course, but at the end of the day, I felt like, every teenager goes through this. It was like, oh, nobody understands me.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, being completely honest, I really did feel like nobody understood me at the time. So that's why I dealt with things
Mm,
alone for the most part.
dang. Why don't we pause here, and because I know there's a lot of people listening around the world who probably are in high school and maybe like feeling alone, but I guess
Mm.
what words would you have to offer to anyone listening who feels like they have to be perfect, or they feel like they have to put up an image, or
Mm.
don't want to be a burden on other folks and kind of going through the same things you went through?
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, perfection, there's no actual definition for perfection. You can strive to be what society or what somebody in your life tells you the definition of perfection is, but it's like that's their definition of perfection. What is your personal definition of perfection? And like the word
Mm,
itself means without flaw, but as humans we innately have flaws.
mm,
So it's literally impossible to be perfect, and that is okay. And you are not a burden to anyone or anything. Granted, like I said, as humans, we are born with flaws, and we will always have flaws. So
mm,
you might
mm,
inconvenience someone here and there, but it doesn't mean you're a burden. You are here for a reason. So you are never a
mm,
burden to
mm.
anybody.
So good. And just to nail it on the head one more time, you are not a burden. Oh my
Amen.
gosh, I feel like if I heard those words when I was younger, like yeah, because high school's not easy. High school
It
ain't
is not.
easy. It
Oof.
is
No.
like, yeah, like just a really lonely time. Like parents don't
Mm-hmm.
understand. Uh, so you say you got to college and then you
Yes.
start to become self-aware. It sounds like you start to develop some like coping mechanisms, or kind of like, I guess, yeah. Can you walk me through college up to now, like how you deal with that thought that trying to be perfect and not trying to be a burden with people?
Absolutely. I mean, let's see. I mean, one of my big coping mechanisms, I guess, like, when I felt down or, I just wanted to feel like I was being productive, it did start my senior year of high school, technically, but going into college, that's when I really picked up doing K-pop covers, like dance covers on social media.
Oh,
That
okay.
was a good form of like self therapy, I guess. Like, if I saw my dance cover and I was like, okay, I like this one, and I would post it, and then I would see it would do well, it would get a lot of likes, people would always be really nice in the comments. That helped me a lot. um
Mm, mm.
Another like hobby I had like in high school carrying into college as well was cosplay. It was a form of escapism for me, truly.
Ooh,
So like,
nice.
when the conventions rolled around, I wouldn't have to be Alex for a day. I would be whoever that character was, because that's how people would perceive me for that day.
Oh, so was that the birth of the alter ego of Alexa?
I mean, not necessarily. I feel like Alexa has always existed in me since I was a child.
Yes.
Alexa is the
Yes.
part of me that is confident, that is fearless, that knows what she wants, and she's not afraid to get it, no matter how scary things might
Mm,
be. So
mm,
she's always
mm,
existed in me, but now as an artist, that gets to be my stage persona. But at the end of the day,
mm.
Alex is just still Alex. So
Word. So it's like I love it. It's like you found a place to channel all your
mm,
energy and to find
mhm.
fulfillment in, and you loved it, right? Like
I
that
did.
was your passion.
Definitely. It's my passion project of just doing covers and just trying to do what I could to make myself feel better, but make a name for myself simultaneously.
That is a win-win right there. You get to pursue your passion, have an outlet for all the energy, and start to just like build something for yourself. So I guess fast forwarding a couple of years now, I mean, I feel like, at least for me, a lot of the kind of problems I dealt with in my life, I know they never like quite go away completely. And it's just a process of kind of like accepting that part of myself more. But it like, so I guess long story short, the part of you that doesn't want to be a burden on people, do you still feel that?
Um, it would be a lie to say no, but that little demon in the back of my head still exists. I try to keep it locked up in a cage as much as I can, but sometimes I lose the key and it gets loose. But
Please tell me how to lock it away forever. What are your tips for dealing with this voice?
I mean, that's a good question because it escapes every now and then. But I don't know. I feel like the stronger that I build the cage, the longer the demon like stays locked away, which is why I try to surround myself with, love. That's the thing. And like, surround myself with people who love me for me, who support me, and like to whom I can return that exact same love. It's a very healing thing. It's the giving and receiving aspect of love is very healing for me.
I see. So when you spend time in the presence of people who make you feel loved for exactly who you are, then those voices are a little bit more locked away and doesn't become as wild. So it's
exactly.
like, I guess community. Would you say it's community? Like
community, yes, community, yes.
That's wonderful. Well, I guess are there? Well, you kind of touched on this before, but I just want to ask it again. Like, what kind of people make you feel the most loved?
What kind of people make me feel the most loved? Let's see. I mean, I guess, to play devil's advocate, there could be an argument that, friends will be biased in giving you advice or like, trying to help you delve through problems. But friends that definitely acknowledge what you're going through and like don't try to, what's the word I'm looking for? Basically, they don't put down what you're feeling or your experiences. Because granted, everybody leads a different life. Everybody's experienced several different things. But, one thing to you could be the end of the world to somebody else and vice versa. So people that basically don't judge, I guess, like a non-judgmental environment.
Dang, yeah, I was watching a Will Smith video about love right before we got talking, but he was talking about validation and just letting the other person know that you see them where they are and you're not coming from a place of trying to change them at all.
Right.
You simply know that they're seen, which I feel like understanding other people is like such a key part of love. But I know for me, my journey has been from, trying to get people to understand to trying to understand others more. But would you say that's kind of the same arc for you as well?
Oh, definitely. I mean, if I may speak honestly, I feel like I've never been someone that has difficulty understanding others. I tend to actually be able to read people pretty well, but sometimes, let's see. I mean, I just feel like this whole journey itself, it's like, I try my hardest to understand other people, and as long as they are trying their hardest to understand me, it doesn't even have to be on the same level of reciprocation, but as long as there's an effort made and there's no invalidation made, then I believe it's healthy.
Yeah, like a given level of respect for the
respect,
other person.
Yes.
I see. What do you do when you come across somebody who is really hard to love? Like, how do you deal with that?
Oh boy, when someone is hard to love, either, tough love, that is a form of love, even though you might not want to seem like naggy, so to say, or you don't want to seem like you're nitpicking somebody, you're doing it out of love. So, if they decide to listen to you, fantastic. You can break down their defenses a little bit and, try to get to that soft, squishy part in them to really make me feel the love. But there are people that it is very hard to love. And, sometimes it's best to sit back as an observer, let them figure their own things out. And then if they lower their defenses, try to slowly come in. Don't full force approach it. But sometimes you can take things slower, but other times you can just tough love,
So it depends on the person and in the situation.
Definitely.
What is or I get what is like definition of tough love, I guess? Like giving somebody like direct feedback or like being Tiger Mom style, like pushing someone? Like what does that mean?
Let's see. My definition of tough love, I've never necessarily had to be super like tough love with anybody, but for me, let's see. Oh man, what would be a good example? I mean, definitely, I think my version of tough love would be direct feedback, to where it's like, if I'm worried about somebody, I will tell them why I'm worried about them. And, whether or not they choose to listen, it's up to them. I'm never going to force them to think what I think or do what I say, of course. But at the end of the day, it's because I love that person and I'm looking out for them that I would try to be a little bit stricter with my words and try to, keep telling them, hey, remember what I said about this? Like,
I see. Is there a notable moment or story, I guess, where you had to do that and where you kind of learned from that experience?
I mean, there's a few here and there, but I think, let's see where to pull from in my memory bank. Let's see. I think it's specifically whenever I see someone who reminds me of me at a point once in my life. And it's like, oh, I know what happened whenever I, was going down this path. So if I can do anything to stop you from going down that path, I will. Yeah. I guess it's a sense of like reflection.
Yeah. Well, you're trying to put up bumper lanes for folks in terms of like, I've been there. I don't want you to go there, yo. So I'm going to give you some direct feedback, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Because it's like, at the end of the day, I can't control anybody else's life. But if I can give advice as to what may happen should they continue down this route, then I will. Whether they listen to me, though, that's their choice completely.
I see. So it's like you'll try to a certain point, I guess. And when do you know when to stop and just let them do their thing?
I mean, I'm someone that has... One of my major faults is I give people too many chances. I let people walk all over me sometimes. And I'm still establishing that of when to stop, because I'm still struggling with giving too much love to the wrong people sometimes. So, yeah.
It's a two-way street. So I know for myself, like when I was younger and I would get really enthusiastic after watching like a motivational video or something, I'd like, be very direct with my friends of like, yeah, you should be, I don't know, like trying harder or whatever, which looking back, I'm like slapping my forehead. I'd be like, man, come on, bro. but I get, so that just is leading to my question. How do you know the difference between when you're judging somebody or when you're giving them tough love?
That's a very good question, actually. Let's see. I feel like when you give someone tough love, it comes out of somewhere of wanting to see that person grow. That's the thing. Like, while you might, be hard on them and maybe tell them things they don't want to hear, it's because you want to see them grow and flourish as a person. But when you're being judgmental, I think it's because you want to put someone down.
I see. So the energy of tough love coming from a good place is one of wanting to grow them and like have them expand, whereas judging them is like wanting to reel them in and like control them.
Exactly. And controlling that that is gaslighting. No, sir, not in this
house.
That
is gaslighting.
Ooh, not in this house.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So when it comes to yourself right now, would you say you discern pretty well between like what is self-judgmental and what is just genuinely like good for you?
I still struggle a wee bit with that, my good sir. But I'm
Mm.
learning to distinguish. I'm learning to distinguish. I'm able to associate the yes. I'm yes.
Or I guess how do you know which thoughts to accept and which ones to keep at bay?
Let's see. Which thoughts to accept and which ones to keep at bay. Um, as an artist, as a creative type, there's always that drive to improve. So if I have a thought that pops into my head, whether it's negative or neutral, at the end of the day, it's like, okay, with this kind of mindset, will it like spark improvement? Will it spark motivation to do better? Whereas
Mm.
if another thought comes in and it's like, is all this thought doing just dragging me down? Is it motivational in any aspect whatsoever? I think that's how I'm distinguishing.
Mm. I think what you said about the growing people versus it feeling like you're trying to lock them in, that
Mm.
it applies as well, where it's like if you're really feeling, a possibility, like an excitement or an
Mm-hmm.
expansion, then it's like good love. Whereas if it's trying to like control yourself and deny things or like change parts of you that are natural, then it just
Right.
a little bit icky.
Mm.
I see. What would you tell your younger self, I guess, like the high school you, or
Ooh.
even any previous versions of yourself? Like what words did you most need to hear?
What did I most need to hear? Oh man. What would I tell 17-year-old Alex? Alex, yes, Alex.
Alex?
Yeah, that was definitely Alex. Alexa just now exists. But what would I tell my younger self? I think I'd definitely say, keep going, keep holding out. You're here for a reason. Don't question it ever.
Hmm, hmm. And then what do you think your future self would tell you right now?
Ooh, future self tell me? Oh man. Let's see. For one, drink more water. Um let's
Hydrate,
see.
hydrate, yep.
Hydrate. Oh man. Also, mm, don't be afraid to speak your mind, I guess.
Mm,
Yeah.
dang. Yeah, that goes right up against wanting other people's approval sometimes too.
Mm-hmm.
But amen. I feel that. So last question here before we start maybe diving into some Q&A from the audience
Ooh, okay.
is how do you think you can add 1%, 5%, 10%, 50% more love into your life right now?
How could I add more love into my life right now? Um, Honestly, I think just, expand my horizons, try to learn about more things because, I might find a new like hobby, I might find a new comfort movie, a new comfort song. I think if you just keep educating yourself and just trying to learn new things every day, that can help tremendously in the self-love process.
Mm. Yeah, I feel that because I think, I mean, self growth is not easy and it's difficult. And I feel this
Mm.
every time before I go to like run or like work out. I'm like, I really don't want to run right now. But then the deeper, higher self, Ian will be like, hey man, nah, bro, we gotta go run because you'll feel way great afterwards. But
Oh
I feel
yeah.
like you're tapped into that, because it's not easy to grow as like I feel like you've undergone a marvelous journey since high school of transforming and bringing out Alexa and like really going for it. So kudos, like like that.
Thank
There's a
you.
lot of like work that goes into that. So actually, yeah. What bonus question? Can you what message of love do you have for yourself now in terms of just giving yourself some kudos?
Oh shoot, message of love for myself.
Yeah,
You know, things are good and they can only get better. So don't stop doing what you're doing.
that's good. There we go, folks. All right, let's move into some Q&A here, and we got some amazing Q&A from like literally all around the
I'm
world. So,
excited.
all right, let's do this. So, Nam Nam asks, is it really that bad to prioritize other people's feelings rather than my own?
Fantastic question because I struggled with that for so long. I mean, it honestly depends. Not that people like have a ranking of importance, of course, but like, it depends on your situation. Are you afraid of what might happen between you and a acquaintance that you hold at an arm's distance? Or maybe is this something happening between you and a sibling or a parent? At the end of the day, parents sometimes don't tell their kids things because they don't want their kids to worry, and vice versa. Especially, I find that now, me living halfway across the globe from my parents, I don't always tell them, hey, I hurt my ankle, because I don't want them to worry about me. I mean, it's not a bad thing, but it's not a good thing. At the end of the day, you do need to prioritize yourself for the sake of your well-being. But it's not
Mm.
necessarily a bad thing, I would say.
This is a related question, and I have a follow-up about it. But Aaron, June friend, I think is the username. Do you believe that you must first love yourself before you can love others?
Mm, I definitely believe that could be held true. In my
Mm.
instance, for my personal life experience, I found that through loving others and finding what love is not, it helps me flip it around and internalize that. So it's like, okay, if I see myself in this way, that's not really self-love. Or if I
Mm.
think these things about myself, if I say these things about myself, that's not really self-love. But I
Mm.
suppose every person's different. But it definitely is important to love yourself because, as someone had told me, someone that, is in tune with their self love makes them a more lovely person. So,
Mm. Yeah, they're more pleasant to be around if
mm-hmm,
they don't have a problem in their own skin. Because it's
exactly.
like you pick up on other people's vibes, right? Like just how they
Exactly.
are. Um, I just want to loop back around to Nom Nom. I love the username. Just to kind of like we kind of talked about it before, but do you think there's a line that that line between prioritizing others too much and then protecting your own space, I guess? Like, what does that line feel like? Or how do you know to
Mm,
discern that difference?
let's see. At the end of the day, if something is causing you harm, whether it's, emotionally, mentally, physically, then that's a definite line for distinction of whether or not you should be whether or not you should be prioritizing somebody else's feelings instead of your own. Because,
Mm.
you could like chama, what is the word in English? Chama? Like uh,
Like, oh man, I'm lost for
endure,
words.
maybe endure.
Endure a whole, like, suppress.
Suppress, yeah, suppress. Like you can suppress, how you feel for so long if you're really concerned about somebody else, but at the end of the day, if
Mm.
that thing you're keeping suppressed inside is just eating away at you, then that's time to distinguish that, you need to start
Mm.
prioritizing yourself instead of this person's feelings.
Mm. Mm. What would you recommend as a good step to start doing that?
Ooh, a good step to start doing that. Oh man. Let's see. I mean, just check in with yourself at the end of the day. I mean, I know it sounds tedious and, apathy's a thing, but at the end of the day,
Mm.
you don't have to write it down. You can literally just verbalize it. But, if you have a journal, journal it. How do I feel at the end of the
Mm.
day and why do I feel the way I do? Like analyze your external factors versus your internal factors.
Mm. Mm. That's good. Journaling is so huge just to like get
Mm-hmm.
your thoughts out there and then look
Oh,
at it,
yeah.
like not just in your own brain,
Mm-hmm.
but that's some great advice. Um, so, all right, well, we're kind of on a roll here with, I just want to stick to the same subject while we have it while I'm getting this question. So Abigail asks, how can I stop feeling selfish about taking care of myself?
Oh, Oh my goodness. Well, for one, I would say if anybody is pointing fingers at you and saying you're selfish for caring about yourself, they can shut up because I
Shut
mean,
up. Get
there
out of
there
here.
and get out of here, you know. But there is a difference between conceit and like being self-centered versus loving yourself, like doing what is best for you that will help you grow as a person. That is self-love. But like
Mm,
things that are surface level that can seem superficial, you know, there is a difference between the superficial versus self-love. So don't ever feel selfish for trying to take care of yourself and try to progress yourself on your own self-love journey. That's not a selfish act.
mm, mm. Yeah, and then I struggled a lot with the same question when I was younger and still now, but I would say like, hey, consider how other people would want to treat you.
Mm,
Like would you treat someone else the way you treat yourself?
exactly.
I'm just reflecting on that.
That is
All
good.
right. So Liz asks, what do you understand about love that you didn't before?
Ooh, what do I understand about love that I did not before? Um, hmm, let's see. Hmm. I feel like out of everything in the world, I have learned that love is something that is truly undying. No matter
Mm,
what people, no matter if people like come in and out of your life, love is still something that's very undying. Because it's like when I said, you
mm,
know, when somebody comes into my life and I give them a little piece of me, when they leave and they have that piece, granted, I might get a new piece to replace that one, but it's still no longer the original. So it's like the little puzzle pieces that Alexa or Alex made out of, you know, I gave one to a friend, they walk away with it, I never see them again. Somebody builds me a brand new piece that fits the exact same, but I know it's not the original.
mm, mm. Whew. And keeping your heart open
Mm-hmm.
continually after that.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh man, we going there. Do Carly asks, as someone who has difficulty loving herself, is there any advice that you can give me? I don't know where to start.
Hmm. Let's see. For one, something that I did at the start of my journey was acknowledge your small accomplishments. You know, even something as
Mm,
simple as, hey, I got out of bed this morning. I mean, pat on the back for that. Hey, I fed myself today, whether it was like a snack or a legit meal, you fed yourself. And at the end of the day, that's an accomplishment. So the more you acknowledge your little successes and your little wins, those will grow to the bigger successes in your life. And you'll learn to be proud of what you did. And that's going to help you learn to love yourself and what you can do and who you are.
mm, mm. Yeah, there's nothing to prove because
Mm.
I think, yeah, for like perfectionists and ambitious folks, there is a mentality that you always have to prove that you're not
Mm-hmm.
quite there.
Mm.
But if the starting point is a place where you already know, no, I'm already there, and
Right.
everything else is like cherry on top, extra.
Exactly. Mm.
All right, so I guess to get more nitty gritty here, Beza asks, do you have some comfort movies, songs, series, or even animes that teach more about self love and feeling content with your own self? Or maybe an artist other than your precious self?
Aw, well, thank you for that. Let's see. One of my songs that I listen to a lot, my dad showed me the song way back. It's by a contemporary Christian group called 10th Avenue North. The song is You Are
Mm,
More. I've mentioned it before, but the chorus literally goes, you are more than the problems that you make. You are more than the sum of your past mistakes. You are more than the problems you create. You've been remade. And, you know, whether or not you're religious, I hope that you could take those words to your heart because, you know, at the end of the day, the past is the past and the negatives are not what make you. You know, everybody has
mm,
mistakes, everybody has flaws, negative aspects, but that does not define who you are as a person.
mm.
So that
Yo,
is
that
one
was
comfort song. Yeah.
that was deep in there. Like that really impacted you.
It really did. That song has stuck with me for. over a decade at this point. So.
Oh my gosh. Can you just repeat those words again? That was so good.
Yes, and maybe decade was an exaggeration, but it's been a while. But let's see. So the chorus goes, you are more than the problems that you make. You are more than the sum of your past mistakes. You are more than the problems you create. You've been remade.
Ah, so good. Snaps. Dang. That's some love right there.
Oof.
Whew. So much love. All right, a couple more questions here before wrapping it up. Kat asks, what is your love language?
Oh, my love language. Definitely, I think there's a little quiz for I took it. My love language is definitely words of affirmation and touch. They were very closely ranked.
Words of affirmation and touch.
Yeah.
Mitchell asks, any recent hobbies that made you appreciate yourself more?
I don't think I picked up any new hobbies aside from beating, so to say, but I do have weights in my apartment now, so it helps with my workout routines. I mean, when I work out, I feel good at the end of it, and that helps me love myself a little bit more.
Beautiful. I feel like there's something magical about weights, or like just like really putting a lot of effort in. It's like somehow on the other side, like you just feel lighter, like you can
endorphins
fly somehow. Endorphins. All right, so Seth has a great question here, which I think we can cap it off with, which is, do you have some words for AI troopers who are having hard times, or just anyone who is having a hard time loving or loving themselves? Words for AI troopers all around the world.
Oh boy. Let's see. If you're tuning into this, AI troopers, for one, thank you for listening. But definitely the words of advice are just something I would tell you if you are struggling with self-love and self-worth is, that this may seem cheesy because it is just me, the K-pop girl on the internet, but at the end of the day, if you don't feel worth it, you are worth it to me. I would love for you to remember that. Like, I know that it may seem impossible for me to reach every single one of you because there are very many of you, but if nothing else keeps you afloat at the end of the day, please know that you are worth it to me. And you are loved, you are adored, your presence and your existence is acknowledged by the universe. So keep trying. Things will be hard, but stay afloat. Stay afloat, and I will be there holding your hand the whole time.
Oh, yo. That was amazing. Thank you for those amazing words. And isn't it incredible we get to do this and talk, and then like all throughout the world there are pieces of technology like just passing on these words that will enter so many people's ears. And you guys, we're like on this call together, like just sharing in love right now, and just like yeah, feels amazing. What a time.
Oh,
what a time.
Technology, it's a great thing, isn't it?
It is. Well, my friends, it is nearing to the end of our journey of this incredible conversation. Thank you so much, Alexa, just for like taking the time to talk about love, share some of your stories. Any last things you want to share before we sign off here?
First and foremost, thank you to you for guiding this wonderful conversation about love. Much thank you to you, my good sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you to everyone who sent in questions. Thank you to everybody who's active in the chat. Thank you to everybody listening and, providing input and like their own thoughts during the whole process of this conversation that was ongoing. But again, thank you for everything. Love is an undying force. You always have it.
Love,
don't forget it.
Is an undying force, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So just to wrap it up, guys, we would love to get your feedback about this. There is a form in the description box below the video where you can fill out what you talked about this with an opportunity to send messages to Alexa. So please let us know what you thought of this. Check out Mindset. And once again, you heard it from Alexa. Love is undying, and you are worth it. You're not a burden. And stay tuned, y'all. We're gonna have more of these conversations soon. Thank you so much, and peace out. Alexa, any last goodbye? I keep continuing back to
Bye, guys. Love you guys. See you soon.
Bye, guys.